Hi guys, welcome back to the Power Network. I'm Amy, and today on Highly Strange Days, y'all, we're going deep, like literally. We're talking Dulce Base, Nightmare Hall, bioengineering programs, 160 alien races, and what they are allegedly doing to humans and non-human entities beneath our very feet. Are they torturing them and us alike underground? That's what we're getting into today. I'm rolling the intro while the algorithm brings in the rest of the power crew. Shout out to my replay crew and my dragonflies. Love you, babies. The Highly Strange Days. I'm Amy.
And I'm Shannon.
My neighbor Jennifer sits all alone. She dreams of flying up to the moon. And she thinks it's the perfect night for dreaming and make believing.
Me off guard, and I think it's a perfect day to talk about aliens today. I think I sent the wrong link out to the community though. I've been trying to stream on both the wide and tall, just to see which ones you guys like better. Also, I'm trying a new setup, so let me know. I've got my microphone a little bit further from me than I normally do, so just let me know if you can hear me okay. Hi Dee Dee. What have you been hearing about the new alien thing? I've been hearing a lot of stuff lately about the aliens and the Dulce Base, and I've been watching some videos, and I just wanted to do that today with you guys. I needed to take a break off from talking, get that bigger, talking true crime and Becca scoops. I just need to maybe talk about some real important stuff here, which is disclosure. I woke up this morning and let me share my screen too. I saw this information being talked about, and so I decided that I definitely, not that information, but this information. I put it over in the community section. I saw some information. I saw Donald Trump has this AI photo. Make sure you can see it. Get myself out of the way. I want to make this bigger too. Let me make the screen, the thing bigger. Okay, so did you guys see this Donald Trump AI? You know he loves his AI. Hey, Shorty Pie. How are you doing? Hi, everyone coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I'm talking aliens. I'm doing something just aliens because I just can't think about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Thought about her all weekend and I feel dark and icky. So that's what we're doing. I hope you guys has anyone been paying attention to disclosure and what's going on? I feel like Donald Trump wants to be the first United States president to disclose, because when Obama said what he said to that journalist, he quickly came on, and disclosure has just been moved up because I really feel like he wants to be the one. And over here, when I woke up this morning, I saw this AI photo of this chained alien walking with Trump. And it reminded me of the Skinny Bob alien. Does anyone remember that alien? I think it was from the 70s, but here's another stupid AI photo. And then here's a comparison of, but this is one of the aliens that's reported to be on this planet. They're the tall grays. And I also saw that even Japan is moving. Their government admits it possesses UAP data, including video footage, and says public disclosure will begin when the limits of national security restrictions. So I don't know what that means. Will begin within the limits of national security restrictions. About a week ago, we did look at the UFOs, the drone footage, and they talked about there was a base that had closed down, and that's why we were seeing all these UFO things, these drones. And they also showed like they were letting, it was a facility that's been there for thousands of years, and it's closing down, and we're no longer having the protection that we used to have, and it used to protect us from various aliens, and we're not having that protection. And it was also building various UAPs and putting it out, but they're putting the reason why we're seeing the weird jellyfishes and those kind of UAPs is because they're not finished. They're just putting them out there. You know, they're just getting out what they can. So I think that disclosure is getting closer and closer, and I've been looking at this Dulce Base and just really wondering what's going to come out. And I was reading that there was a war in the 80s beneath our feet. We didn't even know it. There's okay, so I said this the other day, and I'm standing 10 toes down on this. I put this over on my Facebook. I think all the data centers are for the people / aliens living underground and or the elite who are about to go down there. There, I said it. The data centers are not for us. They're for the people that know what's coming, and they're going underground. And I asked, I did just like a search just because I wanted to see if other people were saying that. And in the search, I put, are the data centers for the underground cities being built? And the AI overview says data centers for underground facilities are actively being built and retrofitted because of extreme power needs. Most new data centers constructions is happening above ground in rural and suburban areas, but major tech and governmental projects continue to embrace the underground for high security and natural cooling. So if you think those data centers are, oops, I lost my browser. Hold on. This happens to me on a daily, losing my browser using StreamYard. It's annoying. Okay, but the data centers aren't for us, you guys. They're just not. They're for the people that are going underground for whatever's coming. Let me share my screen. Let me say hi to you guys too. I see more people are coming in. It's called Switch. Look into the largest ones is in Nevada. They're also in Florida. Well-developed gray, maybe blend with tall Nordic. We'll see. Okay, so also, if you are interested in this type of thing, I am looking for a co-host to, you can either have your own channel, you can want to build your own channel, or you don't even want to build anything, you just want to come on here. I mean, I will help you build your channel, I will help you expand your channel, or you can just come on and join me. But I am looking for a co-host for my Highly Strange Days. Shannon, since she's moved to Hillsdale, her internet is really sketchy, and also she said that her passion for working on this stuff, she's lost interest. So I don't want any of that energy. So we, you know, we want to keep our friendship. So I am looking for a new co-host if you're interested. It's 420 friendly, you know, Highly Strange Days. highly, highly, highly strange days. So it is 420 friendly. I transitioned off of my prescribed Western medication to I microdose, prescribed microdose, and prescribed devil's lettuce. And so I'm all natural. We sometimes will talk about that type of stuff. So you have to be friendly. So if you're interested, my Parawoman Radio is just scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And I like doing shows by myself, but I also like doing shows like having somebody to bounce things off of. You don't have to be in agreement with what I say. Just be able to, like, if you disagree, say why you disagree and just have a good combo. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm a Gen X, and you can be anything. I don't care. The data centers, hi Creamy Row. Yes, the data centers are especially exploitive of clean water supply here from deep artesian wells of the region. Yeah, they don't need them. They don't care about our water supply up here. They've got that stuff. They've been busy building stuff underground for years. There's a city under there. There's railway under there. And you don't have to believe me, you guys, but there's a lot of shit going down underneath there. And today we're going to get into it, and just, keep an open mind. Tell me if you believe. If you don't believe, it's too strong for you. I can't wait until we can start growing it ourselves. So I have a dream. I have a dream. I want land, and I want a bunch of like-minded people, and I want little houses, and I want to be able to grow our own food. And we'll have to pick a state where we can grow our own, our own whatever we want to grow. And just like a community, because I think what's coming is we're going to need communities, because they're either going to try to push us into 15-minute cities, or there's going to be those that go off, and we're going to need each other, because historically human beings, it's easier to survive with people than it is without. So my dream is to find some land and to get that going, because if we don't change what we're doing, I don't think we've got more than 10 years. And that's just that. I feel like that's me being generous. And I'm going to live these last 10 years feeling pretty good, because why not, right? What else is the point of life is not to try to feel good. So all right, let's get into it. So that's, if you are interested in co-hosting, I mean, even if you're interested in popping on here when I do my true crime, once that's, but like I'm saying, like sometimes with the true crime, I do like to just pop up here on my own and just talk. I like to do it both, but I'm just looking for somebody. All right. That was long-winded, sorry. Okay, getting back over to this, I saw this with Trump, and I had been seeing this video, and I had been watching it off and on this week, and I just wanted to watch it with you. It's oh no, this isn't the one. Wait, is that the one? Hold on. Is this it? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so it's 160 races live deep below, and they have a big plan. And then I have some other things that we're going to go into and take a look at and build on this first video. If you guys could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, and warm up your fingers and dance them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there, bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out. And it's really, and one of the biggest ways that you can help a YouTube content creator out is by liking and sharing their content. So thank you very much if you could do that for me. And here we go. Also, put down in the comments where you're watching me from, because I'm always very interested in that too, and what's going on in your state. I'm really tracking the tick situation. Have you been hearing about the tick situation? So just tell me what's going on. Pogosa Springs is north of, geez, I'm really bad at Acalecta. Mesa Dulce is within And below that, Mesa Pogosa, and please forgive my mispronunciation on words. I'm really bad at that. Pogosa is the deepest hot spring on continent. Well, I had looked at, I wanted to know a little bit more about Dulce. Am I saying Dulce? Is it Dulce or Dulce? Dulce. So let's actually, that's probably a good idea. Let's just tell you a little bit what this Dulce is. Thank you, Creamy Row. That's like a good idea. I should just do that and let you know what the Dulce Center is. So I found this article and I thought I'd read it for you. The disturbing mysteries surrounding New Mexico's Dulce Base. For decades, ufologists have claimed that extraterrestrials experiment on humans with the military's help inside a secret base underneath the archaeological. I should have looked these words up. Sorry, I was in a hurry. I wanted to talk to you guys. We'll just say in the Dulce, New Mexico. The quaint desert hamlet of Dulce, New Mexico has fewer than 3,000 residents. It doesn't even have a traffic light, but the unassuming little community is a hotbed for ufologists and conspiracy theorists who believe that below the town is a secret seven stories military facility known as Dulce Base. While tales of the unexplained centered around sparsely inhabited deserts are nothing new, the legends of a New Mexico alien base picked up steam in the 1970s. It began with a state trooper who spotted a strange craft in the sky and mutilated cattle on the ground in Dulce, New Mexico. He also found gas masks nearby, which he believed indicated government involvement. And there is a photo right there. I'm assuming that's the water tower, right? I don't know. Perhaps most incredible were the claims of Phil Schneider, which I have some Phil Schneider stuff to look at too today, an alleged former government engineer, which, you know, he was one of those people. I think he was unalive like in the 80s or 90s, but he was one of those people that was like, I love my life. By the way, I love my life, you guys. I really am enjoying my life. I in no way want to be taken out of this life in any way. I have no plans. And this guy said the same thing. And then they found some medical equipment wrapped around his neck and just concluded that it was one of these. Like he did it himself, right? So he claimed that he and others encountered aliens. And we're also going to look at some encounters where people are saying that they were taken under. Some people say, like some people are taken under and we'll never see them again. And for some, they come back out. So I don't know why they let some back out, because they want them to walk around because they got to bring them back again. So, although no hard evidence has emerged, rumors continue to circulate of strange goings on. Early rumors about the base. Dulce is home to the headquarters of the Jicarilla Apache, we're just going to call them Apache Reservation of northern New Mexico, and is a largely, I wonder if I could find any people that live on this reservation. I do some work with missing and murdered indigenous women. But all the tribes that I've worked with thus far have been in the Dakotas. Does anyone, is any of my viewers on the New Mexico, which one was it? The Jicar Jicarilla Apache Reservation. It's important to note that the existence of the New Mexico alien base itself remains entirely unproven. I mean, AI and everybody wants me to be sure to note that. So this is all my research. This is all alleged for entertainment and educational purposes only. We urge you to go out there and do your own research, but I will tell you that everything that we view today, I will put down in the YouTube show notes, and we do this to cite our sources and for fair use. So, so it's located on a reservation. It's claimed to have been, so it's important to note that the existence of New Mexico alien base itself remains entirely unproven. Oh, so the base itself isn't even proven? Even at the legends surrounding it are well documented. Stories arose in the mid-1970s with New Mexico State Trooper Gabriel Valdez reporting a series of disturbing cattle mutilations, according to Michael Barkin's A Culture of Conspiracy. So there was mutilations. Here's a photo of said mutilations. Look at those cars. I can't believe that I used to ride and stuff like that. I don't even remember cars being, well, I vaguely remember being that big. Wow. The claims reached far and wide and were followed in 1979 by stories from Paul Benowitz, a physicist and Albuquerque businessman. Benowitz allegedly intercepted electronic signals in Dulce he believed were emanating from deep below the ground and directed at a target too high for human activities. And there's people that live around this area that say they hear like trains underneath. They hear the whoosh, and they hear like sounds coming from the ground. He even published a paper titled Project Beta in 1988, detailing how best to infiltrate the facilities. Like, okay, so I guess this is the base. It's said to be 2 miles into the ground and 7 stories deep. I bet you it's more than 2 miles deep. By May 1990, John Lear claimed to have garnered 4 independent confirmations from the 7-story structure was real. Lear was a former pilot and government man, as well as the son of the inventor of the Learjet. So people gave some credence to his claims. His detailed claims went so far as to describe different species of aliens who alleged visited Earth. Lear's allegations served as the foundation for further claims about the New Mexico alien base. So Phil Schneider says he witnessed a battle in the Dulce alien base. So apparently there was this battle. The humans, I got to get used to saying humans. The humans went where we weren't supposed to go, and the aliens said, "Nay, friend, you really need to go elsewhere." And the humans were like, "Oh, but this is ours now." And the aliens were like, and they killed 66 of us. So that's the rumor. And like I said, this Schneider claimed that, 60 people, not 66, were killed in the purported firefight below the desert. None of his statements have ever been proven, and then the rumors persist. So we're going to go and we're going to take a look at this guy. And this is from UAMN TV. And this is Derek Tyler on America's Deep Underground Military Base, 160 alien races, the Dulce Nightmare Hall, boring machines, and vitrified rock 4 miles down, and the 25-ton blast doors sealing it all in. So like I said, I will stop and start things. I'll talk over it, but everything that we view, I will put over in the YouTube show notes. And today we're coming to you on YouTube, and Facebook, and Twitch. So if you could show us love, got this in my hand again. I put this here so I wouldn't hold it. Love on the platform you're viewing us on. That would be really, really appreciated.
I'm going to talk about something called the subglobal system. For about the last 50 years or so, our military has been involved in building a series of underground bases, tunnels, cities, roadways, everything that you need to sustain life under the ground. It's nationwide. It is extremely high tech. It has entrances in every state of the union. The most entrances are in the state of Florida, as I understand it. I've got some maps here that show diagrams of different parts of the country that these tunnels are connected to. They have roadways. People can drive literally thousands of miles underground on these roadways, and they run parallel to what's called a magnetic levitation subway system. It's a subway system where the cars are actually levitated above the rails by magnetism. They're so expensive to build that.
And we just got these things, not even in the United States, but I think like, who has it? China? I think China has it now.
No city in the world uses them on the surface except for part of downtown Tokyo.
Oh, Tokyo, Japan.
But underground, it's all that. They say that they're capable of speeds up to Mach 1. That's not true. They can achieve Mach 2.8. That means that you can basically start watching Star Wars in Los Angeles. By the time it's over, you can be in Washington, D.C. if you ride one of these subways. They are used to transport passengers. Roadways are used to transport material. That's a map of the underground facilities at Dulce Base.
Look at this. Does that look 2 miles deep to you? That looks like more than 2 miles to me. I wish I could see the legend down here.
Or Mount Weather, excuse me. Another deep underground military base. Within the military, these are known as the subglobal system. They use boring machines, which I'll show you here in a second. That's beneath the Capitol. These are nuclear-powered boring machines. They'll go right through solid rock. What they do is they melt the rock in front of them. They literally melt it, and they channel the liquid.
And look at all the electricity that they have down there. I mean, I know this is AI, but there's been some videos that have been released, and you know, they released AI so that everyone would scream, oh, that's AI, but I swear some of these are not AI. This is AI. I know it's AI, but I've seen some videos where it's like, is it AI?
The liquid stone out to the side, and they pass through it, and it forms a large circular tunnel, which has the surface, as the rock cools, it's like basalt. It's smooth, like glass, surface to these tunnels. And sometimes they'll come back and they'll do another one right beside it, make it as big as they want to. But they have quite a few of these different machines that they use. There's one coming out through a wall right there. They can go down. The average depth of these bases in cities is said to be between 7 and 9.
I always say that Hollywood, like, they have to tell us, they disclose, okay, so when you're doing evil stuff, for whatever reason, they have to disclose what they're doing, and they love to disclose through Hollywood. And I swear we've seen movies where we see this type of thing in Hollywood, haven't we? I just feel like I've seen this before.
Miles deep. That's very, very deep. It's safe from anything that might happen in the surface world. They also use some very high-tech methods to conceal the entrances to these tunnels. Some of them are on military reservations, as I'll show you. But some of them also can be built into mountainsides, and they use holographic images. The military has very high-tech holographic capabilities. Yes. That's the size. I mean, you can see the people there in front of it. They're enormous.
Oh yeah, you can see there's the people down here. They're huge. I don't think that's AI either. Have you come to say hello? Come here. Come here. Look at the hair. Hello. Have you come to say hello? I have a little green cheek conure, and his name is Junebug. And here he is. He's come to say hello. My hair is growing and it's everywhere. I'm like shedding. Can you say hello? Hello, 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 hello. Okay. If you ever hear a little Mickey Mouse voice, this is it right here. This is it right here. He's sleepy. He wants to take a nap.
They can go up to 8 miles a day with these drilling machines. And they've been doing this for half a century or so. So you can imagine, and they've got a lot of these machines. So you can imagine that they have made a lot of progress. There's another one, part of one. But as you can see, they're enormous. And the facilities that they make are enormous. This is an interesting one, I think.
You said 8 miles a day?
They can go 8 miles a day with these drilling machines.
8 miles a day.
That's a lot of miles. And they just literally melt the rock in front of them. They're nuclear powered, which I don't have the details on that. They literally melt the rock in front of them and then go through it. The rock is shunted out to the side, hardens, seals into like a glass-like smooth surface. And a friend of mine, acquaintance of mine, was a colonel in the United States Air Force, worked his whole career in black ops, and he once told me that he wanted, before he retired, to take a civilian into one of these underground complexes. And he wanted to take me down there, and I said, well, I don't have any security clearance, how are you going to get me in there? And he said, you don't understand. When I walk through the door, I'm the commanding officer. They don't tell me who can come in, I tell them who can come in. And so he took me down there once, and it's mind-blowing. The technology that they use is Star Wars technology. It's beyond anything you see. They don't use telephones underground. They use holographic things like, help me Obi-Wan. Remember that thing in Star Wars, help me Obi-Wan? That's what they use. When you call someone up down there on a telephone, what we'd call a telephone, they appear beside you, or they'll appear sitting at their desk, and they look just like they're there. And that's how you will appear to them. And that's the technology which is, it's all.
They say the technology that we have up here is like 30 years behind from what they have down there. And yeah, so it would make sense that everything we've seen in the first Star Wars it's happening, right?
Underground uses this technology. It's all stuff that we don't have access to. They have access to anything they need, you know. It's the military. They have access to any kind of materials that they need to use. These bases they're massive and they are widespread and they're not linear. They branch off.
No, he's saying bases. This is just one base that we're looking at. He keeps saying bases, plural. So
they have warehouses. They have giant hydroponic farms. They have their own system of water, their own system of oxygen. They don't rely on the surface for any of these things. They have.
So why not take our water? Why not put data centers up here and ruin our whatever we got going on up here? Why not, right? Because something's coming and they're all going underground. Like all the rich people are building bunkers and they're all going underground. They don't want us. Only about 1 million people are going to get under there. And how many billions of people are on the planet right now?
Stocked up warehouses full of anything you can imagine that you would need to survive for 200 or 300 years. Dulce is, the things you've heard about Dulce are true. It is basically, as I understand it, is now controlled by aliens, not humans. There was a battle that took place 30 years ago, probably. We got creamed. We sent a bunch of special forces down there. We got creamed. But as I understand Dulce Base, it is connected to this underground system that I'm speaking of, by the way. It is primarily used as a genetics laboratory, as I understand it. They create chimeras. You know what chimeras are? They're a cross between one type of life and another, okay?
He's talking about these cryptoids that we talk a lot about on Highly Strange Days. And I've said over and over again, I think these cryptoids are things that the government has created and they've gotten loose and they're reproducing, or they've let them loose, one of the two. And here he's talking about them crossbreeding humans with various animals. And here we're getting into the torturous aspect of it.
The reptilians and some other alien races are very advanced genetic engineers. And we have gotten some of this technology from them. An example of a chimera that they've created is a cross between a spider and a goat. Okay? You think, why would they do that? They do it because when they make Kevlar armor, they use spider webs because it's so strong for its size, it's much stronger than steel. But it takes a lot of spiders to spin Kevlar vests. and they need more Kevlar vests than they can get spider webs for. So they combine a goat and a spider, and they end up with goats that can spin webs. Yes, yes. And they use these to produce spider webs for Kevlar armor. I've seen a photograph of a manticore. Manticore is a cross between a human and a lion. I've seen a photograph, actually a film of one in a lab. It was a terrible thing.
He said a human. He said a human and a lion. And I just think about this woman who they did this to. Can you imagine being kidnapped? We know all these women are being kidnapped, and we thought one of the worst things that could happen to you would be to end up on Epstein Island. But no. Another worst thing is you could be taken underground and turned into a lion woman by the government. How crazy does this all sound? But it's distinctly possible. Like, I would say it's more likely that it is happening than it isn't. And it sounds crazy to say. It sounds crazy. It must sound crazy to hear.
The body from here up was a human woman, appeared to be a human woman. And the body from the waist down was a lion, and it didn't look like she could move. She was laying on a table. A bunch of people were shouting at her in what appeared to be Arabic. I don't know where it was from, but it's a terrible thing, and there are no laws against doing this. It's such a futuristic technology.
There was an interview, sorry, I'll try to lay off, not interrupting so much, but if I forget it, because I had a stroke, and if I don't say it, then I forget it, but I'll write it down from now on. But there was this woman that said that, I saw this video where they had captured this alien, and we torture the aliens. We don't care. We treat them horribly. Like, we keep them chained up. But I also think that maybe these aliens are stronger than us and they want to be kept chained up. Like, I think they're doing something to us just as much as we're doing it to them. But I can't say that for sure. But yeah, we don't treat these things very nicely. I mean, how could we? We're creating them. We're creating these experiments that, we were outraged what the Nazis were doing to humans. Well, they're doing 10 times worse, if not just the same thing. And there's also reportedly, that reminds me, there's reportedly a race of aliens that are supposed to be Nazi aliens.
That most people don't even have any idea that it can be accomplished, but it can be, and it is. And at Dulce Base, they're doing it every day.
Well, they said that in the initial information that I read, over $1 trillion to start. And this was in the 80s that they started. So somebody had cost comparison this, and $1 trillion, they said, to build it sounded right. So $1 trillion, $1 trillion, not a billion, $1 trillion.
They create humans with gills because they want to create humans that can breathe and move underwater, right? Like mermaids. There are alien races which can do that, but they're trying to create humans. They create humans with bat wings.
That's reported to, I know I said I wouldn't do it, but that's reported to be in Ohio. We've got a pig woman in Ohio, reportedly.
They cross humans with any kind of animal you can imagine. And they do it in a place called Nightmare Hall, where they keep, all the people that they abduct are not returned home. Some are, many are, but many are not. They just vanish. They'll take street people. They'll take kids off the streets of India that are poor and nobody cares about. Nobody's going to chase after them if they just vanish.
Somebody said that to me today. They're like, well, where are all these with the Epstein files? And they're doing this. They did the same thing with the Epstein files, but apparently they were stealing kids. Well, first they were doing it to the Catholic Church, and then people started speaking out with the Catholic Church, and then they moved to some other. They were doing it with the Boy Scouts. I don't know. They moved somewhere else, and they were doing it up in the Midwest somewhere, like taking the kids. But people were like, "Where are these kids' parents?" Well, not every kid has a parent that cares. Like, there's a vast majority of kids out there that have parents that don't care and or in on this, and or that they're creating these kids now. They don't need parents. So
They're an untouchable couple's kid in India. No one cares if they're the cops. No one cares. There are thousands of these people, and they're kept underground at bases like Dulce. And they're put in cages, and they're kept there for the rest of their lives. And they do these medical experiments on them without their permission, of course, without their consent. They can't get away. The staff is instructed not to speak to them because they say that they're crazy and they've had all these experiments done to them, and it'll ruin all the progress they're making if the staff listens to them or speaks to them. So they can't even communicate with anyone. They can't even tell anyone that they're being held captive. The staff won't listen. Before you can work at a place like Dulce Base or Area 51 now, you have to sign a paper in which you agree to have your memory chemically erased at the end of your shift every day. So you go to work, you do your job.
Severance, anyone? Hello? Severance? Hollywood? Severance? Anyone seen Severance?
You come out, psh, they take your memory away, and you don't know what you've done. You don't know who you've worked with. You don't know if you worked beside aliens. You don't know if you worked with chimeras. You don't know if you were involved in alien abductions. You don't know.
So this just erases the memory of that day. It doesn't go back.
Right. This is how advanced these drugs are that they're using. They're designer drugs, and they do the same thing for people. I'm going to be talking Sunday morning about the moon and Mars, and the colonies we have there, and the aliens which inhabit those worlds. And I know at least a half dozen people that have been stationed at Mars base. I've got pictures of the above ground part of it. Dulce Base is a secret. It's as secret as Area 51. It's an underground base on a place called Arcolita Mesa in New Mexico, and it is 6 to 6.5 levels underground. I say 6 to 6.5 because in between the second and third level, there's kind of a little half level that they use as a prison. It's got prison cells in it where they keep captured aliens. The military doesn't treat most aliens as guests. They treat some of them as prisoners, and that's where they keep them. But the deeper down you go in Dulce Base, the higher the security gets, and the worse the situation gets. When you get down to the fourth level, it's called Nightmare Hall. This is where they do these genetic experiments I was describing. They produce clones, thousands and thousands of clones. They're trying to produce super soldiers. They produce grays. Gray aliens, the classic ETs with the big wraparound eyes. Those are actually genetically engineered creatures. They're not a naturally occurring type of a being. They are created, and
I think it's important to note that there's various grays, and he's talking about the little worker bee grays that you see, not the tall grays, and it's just the little gray aliens and I've heard really horrible things about these grays. Like, I've heard people say, like, if they could get rid of every single gray, they would, because apparently grays are hive mind. They're like little worker bees, and were created by the praying mantis aliens, and that they don't care about us at all. If they hurt us, they don't care. They don't have any sense of empathy or feelings whatsoever. Although one person in doing this research for today, they said that if you can separate a gray, you might be able to make it have feelings for you, but who's got time for that? Who's got time for that? I don't.
They've been relegated to slave status by the reptilian race which created them. They are entirely
have you guys ever heard my reptilian story? I included this little this post in the community section. I covered the Kyle Odom reptilian story, and in that story I have my own reptilian story. So if you're interested in that, I encountered a reptilian in my bedroom after a paranormal investigation.
Telepathic. They operate with like a hive mind. They don't have any emotions. There's no such thing as a friendly gray. Okay, if somebody tries to tell you that there's friendly grays, they're full of crap. I've met more grays than I could possibly want to ever remember, and I would exterminate them if I had the power. There's nothing good about them whatsoever. They don't care if you hurt. They don't care if you're uncomfortable. They don't care if you're terrified. They don't care. They're programmed to do it.
He's not the only one, though, in this research. There's been other people who have said that the grays are just like, you don't want to encounter them. And I remember Communion. I think he was he encountered the grays. And I think Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton, something like that. He encountered the dirty ones. There's like a species of grays that are like really dirty. They live in dirty conditions. So
Job, they'll do it. They have IQs of about 80. They're not very smart. They are responsible for most of the UFO crashes which take place because they're also not very good pilots, according to my friend in the Pentagon.
You know, there was a time in my life, like if people did doubt me, I was really bothered by it, but I don't care anymore. I just feel like it's coming. If you know, like if the people that like the woman, well, she was talking about the Epstein files, but on anything anymore these days, if you don't see it, then, you know, I'll show you as best I can, and then I'll just move on. Because I feel like if people don't start waking up to this disclosure thing, you're not going to know how to, I'm trying to figure out how to navigate it. Is anybody else here just trying to figure out, like, what do they want? Are they safe? Because I don't think I have it in me to run from aliens for the rest of my life. I just don't think I have it in me to hide from giants. I just, like, I'm pretty sure I'll get eaten pretty fast if that's what is on the agenda, because I'm not sure I have it in me. Actually, I'm pretty positive I don't have it in me. So I'm just hoping, yeah, that they don't want to eat us.
The bottom two levels at Dulce Base, humans are not allowed to enter or access in any way. They are occupied by a variety of alien races. One of them is the mantid race. One of them is the reptilian race, the Draconians.
So he said mantid race. Remember, I said the mantid race created the, they believe that they also created the grays.
Some of them are grays. There are many different types of grays, aliens, because the military is aware of at least 160 different alien races right now. They're not all distinct because many of them are very ancient. They've had technology for millions, tens, hundreds of millions of years, some of them. All the stuff in Star Trek, they've got all that stuff and more. And since then, as I understand it, the aliens control that base, and we are there with their permission. They control other bases around this world too, many bases.
There was a interview that I have been talking about. It's a 1999 Swedish interview with it's called the Lacerda Files, and the alien that's being interviewed is a reptilian, and she's like around 20 or 30 years old, and her name's Lestat, and she said that her species of the reptilian, they were here before us, so they've been in there for a while. And I think that's why when we decided like we would come in and blast in, they were like, nay, you stay out, friend. We're just allowing you to live amongst us.
Underground, underwater. I grew up in Yakima, Washington, which is in the center of the state. And out of my backyard, all the time I was growing up, I could see this great big mountain called Mount Adams. Washington is more famous for Mount Rainier because it's a taller mountain, but Mount Adams is bigger. It's more massive. It's bigger in girth. It's the biggest mountain in the Cascade Range, and it rests on an Indian reservation. It's a holy sacred mountain to the Indian tribe, the Yakima Indians, and because of that, nobody is allowed on to Mount Adams. I lived there first 22 years of my life, I guess, and I never met anyone who'd been on Mount Adams, and it was right there. The closest road that comes to it is 16 miles. Reptilians were already here. They've been here for many thousands of years. They live underground. Their bases, as I understand it, can be as deep as 25 miles down in naturally occurring caverns. There are many huge naturally occurring caverns in this world, and they've expanded them. It's not just bases down there. There's roadways, there's warehouses, there's weapon storage, there are ships. They've got canals coming into the tunnels. Did any of you see the picture a couple years ago of looks like an undersea base entrance off the coast?
No, because Ghislaine Maxwell, she drove a submarine. I wonder if she's ever driven her submarine into any of these underground bases.
Malibu, California. Remember that? That is our base. That's our interest, not an alien base. That belongs to us. And once you go in that entrance, there are underground waterways, mostly natural, which a submarine can navigate all the way to a little lake in Arizona. Yes, all the way under California, there's a Navy base in a little lake in Arizona. Nobody knows why. It's because submarines can cruise right through to that base. Yes. Anyway, they've systematically drained the resources of this nation for decades for these alien projects. I'm going to be speaking about other alien projects on Sunday morning. You should be here if you can. You won't be disappointed. But they've systematically stripped this nation of its wealth. They've used all this drug money. They've stolen all of our gold. They've done it all to build these bases for the benefit of only a few people. These bases are protected, by the way, by 25-ton blast doors, the same type that they used in Cheyenne Mountain. Let's see if I can get some more pictures up here. These tunnels, I started to say, they're protected by 25-ton blast doors, the same type they used to protect Cheyenne Mountain, which was NORAD headquarters, right? They're so well balanced that one person can close these doors and seal them shut. Once they're sealed shut, it takes a direct strike from an atomic bomb to open those doors again. They cannot be, they're immune to any other type of attack, okay? And they're multiple doors. Let me get some other photos up here. These are some of the entrances that are on military bases. This is on Mount Shasta, yes. But they also have holographic projections which can make it look just like a mountainside, like a rocks with a little stream flowing down it, and a street that's been mysteriously destroyed a quarter mile away that they can rebuild in 3 hours and start trucking stuff back in there. Anyways, these blast doors, look at this. Those are logos of the CIA, the NSA, the Department of the Navy, and I can't remember the other one. But it's our secret intelligence agencies which monitor all your phone calls and electronic transmissions. The NSA has all of your voices on tape. They have every phone call you've ever made, every chat message you've ever sent. It's all recorded and it's stored forever with the idea of using it against you if they ever need to. They're all over. I mean, the CIA has bases all across this country underground where they store stuff that they don't want to store above ground. It's just where they store quantum computers, a network of them that are all hooked together. They work hundreds of thousands of times faster than any computer we're familiar with. These blast doors, they use multiple doors. It's not just one door like Cheyenne Mountain had. They use 2 or 3 doors in a row, okay? Every one of them is a 25-ton blast door. You can't get in that door. It's to keep us out. There's no one else trying to come in except us. They are expecting the people that run this world, the people that control this world. These are the pictures of the subways, some of these mag-lev subways. The people that control this world, they're not expecting funny little rabbit fur aliens to come marching in to save our asses, okay? They're
Pats. Let me see. Pats in Pajamas. That's such a cute little name. From early 1970s. Yes, and it does remind me of Lost too. From early 1972, gargoyles made for television are similar to Phil's description. Oh, really? You know a lot, Creamy Row. Very interesting.
expecting trouble. These places are set up, it's stored with our money, they're stocked with supplies we paid for, enough to stay down there for 200 to 300 years at least. At least. They are expecting something very bad that's going to make the surface world uninhabitable to occur. And they're so sure that it's going to happen that they've stripped the resources of this country to build this underground sanctuary just for themselves. We're not going to be allowed in. The elite are going to be in there, the people that control the military, that control the intelligence agencies, head of the Illuminati, and the people that they need to serve their needs. They've got hyper modern medical facilities. They've got cities with malls in them, completely empty. They've got people already living there at some of these places. They've got everything that you can imagine. They've got warehouses full of food. They've got their ability to produce their own food. They've got warehouses full of commodities, weapons. They've got ships. They've got planes. They've got, you name it. You'll never get in these places.
They've got everything they need down there. Do you think they've got everything they need down there because they're going to create a war? Or do you think it has to do with something like an asteroid hitting us or something? Which, sorry, I've got two cameras up here and I'm forgetting this one. Which do you think it's going, what do you think? Do you think it's an asteroid or do you think it's going to be man-made? let's go on. I want to look at this. This is a Coast to Coast AM clip. Did anyone else used to watch? I watched Art Bell. I didn't watch this guy, but this is Area 51, the Dulce Base, and the underground alien war. So I thought we would take a look at the war that happened.
Now, I have never been to Area 51, Groom Lake, S4. You know, I was over at White Sands, Los Alamos, Sandia Labs, currently Air Force Base. What are the different?
What you guys are saying really quick. Probably a few select will save themselves. The Dulce Base has been something that's been rumored to be around for a while. It's located on the Apache Nation Reservation in northern New Mexico. It's an actual base. It's on tribal land. And there's been rumors since the 70s that people are being kidnapped in the late 1970s and 80s, a combination of unexplained local cattle mutilations. And there was a highly publicized electronic equipment of a local Albuquerque businessman, Paul Benowitz, and he talked about it. He believed he was intercepting electronic signals from the base in the area. This man says that we just watched said he's been down there, and there's been other people that have said that they've been kidnapped down and brought down there. And yeah, so that's where it came out.
What does it mean?
The closest I've been is flying over the nuke area right here, where they used to set out the nuke blasts. I flew a North American OB-10, and my job was to give the winds from ground level to 10,000 feet so that in case it vented, it wasn't going to blow towards Las Vegas. They wanted to go to the north. And so that's what was my job, to give the winds. And I always did it 2 hours before the shot.
So this guy that he's interviewing, so this is Coast to Coast AM, Area 51, Dulce Base, and the underground alien war. John Lear's shocking testimony about America's deepest classified installations, Area 51, S4, and especially the infamous Dulce facility. He describes vast underground networks carved by nuclear detonations, multi-level bases housing thousands of troops, secret mag-lev transit tubes, and covert alien human research programs. Does this have a where we could jump around? It doesn't. But this is the next one that we're looking at.
So I had a lot of time to look around, and one of the things I noticed is to the north, this huge expanse area of white. And I couldn't figure out what was making it white. And only years later did I figure out that I was looking into the Paiute Mesa and also the Rainier Mountains. And what they had done is cut off the top of a mountain. They built the secret test site, the Sandia test site, inside and then put the top back on. When they took it off, it was all quartz, and that's what made it white.
Oh, of course.
Years later, I found out that we had a friend of ours that his father drove a cement truck, and I call it Sandy. I don't know what they call it these days. That's what they used to call it.
Right.
And it was their idea to name the new secret bases a name that was always used for somewhere else.
Right.
So that if somebody said that name, it would say, oh, they meant Sandia Corporation or Sandia Range or Sandia Mountain or something like that. And that was the way they started naming facilities and why they used names that were so common. In addition to the Sandia base, there was 5 holes, 300 feet wide, that went down a mile deep. They were originally built by using nuclear blasts and making an area. Then they make a drive down there so that these cement.
So he's just basically confirming what the other guy said, that they were doing these, making the holes, drilling the holes into these bases. He's kind of showing where it all is happening, confirming that they're drilling down.
Connected to Alamogordo and White Sands Missile Range, up to Mountain Air, over to.
So here's the Dulce one that we're talking about. Looks like there's a Blanca Peak, a DIA, a Colorado Springs, Los Alamos, a Kirtland, Sandia Labs, Mountain Air, Alma Gordo, White Sands, and a Groom Lake area. Oh, there's Area 51. Oh, it's not that far from Area 50. I mean, it's a distance, but oh.
Sandia up to Los Alamos, then Dulce, then Blanca Peak. There's another center there, and that goes up to Colorado Springs to Denver. That's the only one I know of. I know there's a lot more I read. Those are the only ones I can confirm myself. Do you know anything about these underground?
Just they exist as you said, and but I don't have any independent confirmation, except a friend I have was and did work at Dulce, and he used to take the underground transportation there. And when Bob worked at S4, he read the story of the altercation. Now, the altercation happened in 1979, and there were 66 people killed, 40 scientists, and a number of Delta Force, a total of 66. Now, when Bob read the report, it didn't mention Dulce because his clearance at that time, although it was being elevated, it didn't include Dulce.
So, John, the altercation that happened, let's try to tell the audience.
Okay.
Let's start from like, this is the first time they're hearing it.
What happened was, I first heard about Dulce when I was at Crestone, Colorado in 1988. A group of the top so-called ufologists got together to spend a couple of days trading information. A guy named Tom Adams, who lived in Dallas and had a lot of good information, came up to me and says, John, I have this note from this lady in Henderson, and I don't have time to follow it up. Would you follow it up for me? And I said, sure. So I read the note. It was from Cherry Hinkle, who lived in Henderson. She knew a security guard who worked at Dulce, and they had escaped with 7 minutes of video of a hallway, 25 black and white photos, and 100 pages of technical information about Dulce. And the security guard was friends with Cherry, and I don't know how. But anyway, this security guard feared for his life because they have these people that go out specifically, I forget what you call them, to find escapees. And he knew they were going to get him eventually. And what he did is he put together 6 packs of information.
Right, I remember this. I thought it was 3, but yeah, 6.
And Cherry had one of them. She kept her name out of circulation, and when we originally talked, she said, I don't mention my name, but recently she has a Facebook page. You can type in Cherry Hinkle and get her whole story, and she will remember the days that I met her, and she gave me all the Dulce information, took me down to Dolan's.
I realized that there was some leaked footage, and I quickly typed in leaked Dulce Base footage, and this popped up. I haven't seen it before.
Aliens in containers of liquid and the alleged vats of feeding substances. You can see in the film footage the alleged hybrids growing in vats or containers, which could be reptiloid or gray aliens. The Dulce, New Mexico underground base has UFOs seen in the every night. Cattle have been mutilated, cut with a laser knife. This information comes.
It's going to white, but can you see the
Cattle have been mutilated, cut with.
Shit. That, I guess they're saying that these are vats that the aliens are in. I mean, of course, I don't know. Thanks, AI. You believe it exists? I do too. I actually believe this 100. Like, I'm like 99.9%. I always like leave a small, like, I mean, it could be, and it also could be like this, but like slightly different. But I do think so too.
Containers, which could be reptiloid or gray aliens. The Dulce, New Mexico underground base has UFOs seen in the every night. Cattle have been mutilated, cut with a laser knife. This information comes from people working at the base who were kidnapped or abducted and taken there and then released. Also people who helped to construct it and people who were working with the intelligence community there. The facility is a biogenetics lab and is connected to Los Alamos by underground, the first site of the atom bombs experiments. It's always been a high security.
I can't tell if it's AI. Like, you know, like you can kind of, there's telltale signs when it's a person, but
research area for the U.S. government. There's an underground connection by subway or tube shuttle to Los Alamos. The research there is about genetics and research into other intelligent species and the comparison between human and alien biology. Their research indicates centuries ago that the aliens that entered into a contract with a secret group called the Illuminati, one of the chief implanters, someone that works in secret to control you mentally, was Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati in Germany. The United States government entered into a contract with the aliens in the 40s.
Were they part of the Los Alamos? I know there's a lot of missing scientists. I didn't realize that they, yeah, it's like pods. I didn't realize that they were all coming. A lot of them were coming. Gosh darn it! Why am I talking? Whoo! I am a little nervous about all this, so I'm like, oh. I didn't realize that it was coming from the Los Alamos. I didn't realize the scientists were all coming from there. That's scary. And it's like pods.
Or earlier, to exchange high technology research with, to give animals and humans to the aliens. At the end of the 40s, the alien operations shifted from South America to the United States West because of this agreement that was made with the U.S. government. The aliens wanted these underground.
So the 40s would have been during World War II. Do you think our government made some kind of agreement? Because I know, like, there's been said that this is crazy, that the Nazis were flying up in spaceships during World War II. I'm just like, oh gosh, 2026 is so weird. I mean, it was always weird, wasn't it? I guess.
Bases, and because of the magnetic and plasma effects of some of the minerals of the rocks in that area were vital for them. They have to have something that produces a high electromagnetic energy field for their saucers, so they need the raw materials for that to keep things going. These people who work there said that the aliens themselves regard themselves as an old people who originally came from Earth. They were human reptilian hybrids. They told the U.S. government this and are representatives of an alien nation and are returning to Earth to use it for a staging operations area, but didn't reveal what for exactly. But other aliens do not agree about this. They built an alien bases in Dulce, Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, and others in the rest of the world, maybe in Antarctica, Russia, Pyrenees, Upper Norway, etc. There have been some very strange underground projects being done costing billions. In 1947, the residents of Dulce saw...
Okay, I wish that music wasn't playing. Are there any more underground photos?
Genetic manipulations, but all secret. The trilateral insignia, a black triangle on a red background, is for the Andromedans, because the gray aliens that...
Oh, he's talking about, you know how sometimes we see different shapes. He's saying that a black triangle is the Andromedans. And I also have heard that there's some aliens that just despise us. They think we're stinky and we don't deserve to live and we're just like stupid cows, and they would just like, they treat us like cattle, and there's just some that would just rather get rid of us. And then there's some that really are working towards helping us expand and become better, helping us realize our potential. And some people have said that the religions of the world have been brought to us from aliens to try to help us become better people. They have inserted themselves into our religions, and they have done all of this to help expand our consciousness.
The nations of the world have made an agreement.
There's some people that think that we are the consciousness, and that's why we are so important, and that we have that divine spark within us, and that's why we can't, you know, like we're number one, but they've made it so that we don't realize we're number one. Some people think that too.
Including the USA are from Andromeda, the next galaxy. The pyramid with the eye in it is the Illuminati symbol and is the Dulce Base symbol. Genetic experiments have been perfected to the degree that we already have a disposable slave race of clones from a small fetus.
So if this is true, this looks like
we already have.
They're just like stacked on top of each other. Just putting out these whatever they're putting out here. and this fucking music.
Wave race of clones. From a small fetus, they make many copies of the same thing and have no parents, so the
Well, I mean, I guess this gives us an idea, if you believe it's AI or not, of what inside of it looks like. One floor. See, there's different floors. They have like floors where like our troops are living, and there's administrative floors. There's the hell floor where they're doing the experimentation. You know, there's the cloning floor. It's kind of like in Severance. I don't know if you've watched Severance, but watch Severance. It's like kind of like how Lumen has all these floors.
and they are planning to stay.
They are Severance from Remembering, and this first guy said that, you know, they're giving this antidote at the end of the day where they can't remember what they did during the day.
An alien contact planning in the near future. Meeting them openly, but it's just a show.
I think it's too much. So let's go back over and finish. Let's watch some more of this.
Springs, south of or north of Kingman, to show me where she hid her packet, and it was in some kind of a small container that the guy at Dulce had put together, and that's when I first heard about Dulce. She was the one that told me about the altercation at Dulce, how it happened.
Did it actually happen in Dulce, or did it actually happen in?
Actually,
Gremlin.
at Dulce.
At Dulce.
They had 40 or 44 scientists being taught in this auditorium by one Gray. And during this education, a Delta security guard walked in the door with a sidearm. He didn't point it. I think it was just that he had ammunition within sight of a Gray, and they killed him instantly. In retaliation, the Delta Force saw on the monitor they had killed them. They went down to retaliate, and the Gray ended up killing 66 of them. And I forget what the numbers are. I think it's 44 scientists and 22 Delta Force. And that was known as the altercation at Dulce. But these
Did he say Zionist?
were scientists and 22 Delta Force. And that was known as the altercation at Dulce. But these ufologists have turned this into the war at Dulce. It wasn't a war. It was an accident. Anyway, when Bob went to work at S4, and this is 3 years later after I heard the story, he said, I heard that story. Now, he said the report I read didn't say Dulce, but it might have, included the exact same figures. And it's possible my clearance wasn't high enough to know, because they were advancing as, he had 150 documents. And what they would do is they paper clipped or stapled the pages that he wasn't authorized to read. And then when he'd go the next time, he'd see that they'd taken the staples out and give him, a few more pages of these different reports. And one of them was a Dulce. So when he read it, the altercation happened at Area 51. And it really did happen at Dulce.
What I don't understand is, because it's not in Bob's job description to be part of that intel, or did everyone over there, S4, get this message just to let everyone know, like let all the employees know this has happened and you're going to maybe hear about it?
That's what I suspect. When he was told that he would have to make a decision on what aspect of the research of the saucers he would want to be involved in, because he couldn't be involved in more than one. And he picked propulsion. So in his getting ready to choose what part he wanted to be involved in, they gave him all of these briefings that were told about all the different aspects about, so he could decide which place he wanted to go in. And he picked propulsion. And that's when they took him into the room. He was shown that full-size operational antimatter reactor. And right in the room, it was right there, fully operational. And you can imagine in a room, and he's looking at an object that has an antimatter matter in a little size cup going on right there.
Amazing.
I've tried to
I believe Bob. Isn't Bob from Michigan? So that's how the little fight happened. And ever since then, we haven't been in control of that base underground. Here is one where this is an alien prison below the desert. This is actually our George Nuroy, the host of the original host of Coast to Coast AM Official, and the truth about the Dulce Base.
But what about the UFO highway? Our guest on Beyond Belief is Anthony Sanchez, who heads up an organization called Umbra Research, which is telling us about emerging technologies with
And
UFOs.
guys, this was before AI. So, I mean, I'm sure AI existed, but before it was out there for the public.
Anthony, I'm glad you do what you do.
Thank you, George.
Good to have you on the
It's an
program.
honor to be. In 2010 is when I met this individual who claims to have been working at a facility underground in northern New Mexico alongside gray aliens. Pretty controversial.
Sure.
There were already 2 stories out in the public that were very well known. You had Ann Richards with Captain Richards, and then you had Ann West, Shirley Hinkle with John Lear, and this whole Tom Costello story. I was afraid to get into that. I'd already been.
What do you mean afraid? Afraid of what?
Because there's this reptilian aspect to it. There's this gray alien aspect to it. There's military industrial complex involvement. It's a very involved story that has emerged out of northern New Mexico, and it has come under lots of scrutiny. And me trying to find answers with regards to reverse engineered alien technology, do aliens exist? What did I experience as a child? I did not know if delving into the Dulce lore was going to distract me, number one, and number two, cause more.
They definitely want to get rid of some of us. There's too many of us now. So they definitely want to do that. And they've definitely been trying to poison us for a long time. They want us to die slowly because they're worker bees. They're getting a lot out of us. Like, we're feeding them down there. They're taking our resources and they're just riding off our backs. They need us. They need some of us, but something's coming. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a war that they're planning. I don't know if they're trying to get us to a one world order. And if that doesn't work, then they're just going to do a reset. I don't know if there's an asteroid coming. I don't know what it is, but there is something coming that they want to get off the top of the earth. And it's interesting too, because I am working on this show where, have you heard of the P40, is it P47 and 51, I think. Yeah, it's the P47 and P51. They're the gray aliens that, like I said, there's a lot of gray aliens, but those are us. Those are reported to be us from the future, and something has gone horribly wrong. And I asked AI to show me what these creatures, which are us, they go underground. And it doesn't go well for the ones that go underground. And this is what they said. Didn't I put it up there? I thought I did. Hold on. I didn't. Hold on a second. I was doing it and then it crashed. So let me show you the image. I had AI make me an image of what these creatures, what we look like from going underground all those years, and it's not good. Another show, if you want to watch, of people going underground, Silo. It's very popular. They haven't turned into anything yet, but they build all these silos underground for the war that came. Here it is. I did. Okay. No, I did. I think I put it in the other post. But anyway, here it is. That's what we look like in the future from going underground. We lose our genitalia. We don't need hair anymore. Our eyes become bigger because we need to see better underground. Our skin turns into this luminous kind of stuff. And yeah. And that's why they're here, because something's gone horribly wrong and they need our DNA and they're mixing it with theirs. And so it's crazy. It's crazy.
trying to, as they're also trying to seek answers. They're also trying to find the individuals who can provide answers.
Sure.
So
Constantly.
Dulce is very controversial. So I was worried about delving into that.
There have been cases that have been remarkable, UFO cases that are frightening. In your experience, are we in any danger with these visitations?
When people ask me about scenarios that paint a dangerous picture,
this is scary. So if it's something, if you're not in a good space, you know, like a trigger warning, maybe don't watch this right now. Go out and, you know, touch grass, but be careful of those ticks they're releasing, because they're making it so we can't eat meat because Bill Gates wants to give us a new vaccine.
I focus in on actions by major governments, major players around the globe, and is there some sort of an alien component? For instance, look at China. China just built the FAST, which is the 500-meter aperture for a spherical telescope. It's this massive, essentially take Arecibo in Puerto Rico and just
times 10,
ginormousize it. Right. Now, why didn't China just rent time with Arecibo like everybody else around the globe does? All these other scientific, endeavors that take place, using the radio telescope. Well, from 2014 to 2016, they constructed this monstrosity, and nobody other than Chinese scientists get to use this facility. And when you think about it, it's an antenna. So I don't believe that they're using it solely for listening from radio, waves from outer space.
Maybe they're sending.
I believe they're sending to a specific set of coordinates, and they are communicating. Also,
you guys, I guess I thought Art Bell. Oh, this isn't Art Bell. This is Newroy. Never mind. Isn't that Art Bell? Or is that Newroy? No, that's Newroy. Sorry.
Wow.
Way back in 2010, I went on the late Jerry Pippin's radio show. He's since passed away, and Mel Fabregas' radio show, Veritas. And I spoke.
I didn't realize.
I was very vocal, very public about information that I had received from one of my government sources who told me that emanating from beneath the Chengdu area of China, the Chengdu district, was a massive underground complex that extended beyond 3,500 miles out in all directions.
Like a city, right?
Right, but specifically down to the coastline of the South China Sea. Now,
who did you guys like better? Did you like Art Bell, or did you like the Newroy guy? I always liked this guy. I had to remember what Art looked like for a second. He was always this. He reminded me of those people that after a poetry song they would go like this. I forget what those people are called, but that's who he always reminded me of, because he wore this turtleneck. Okay, so that wasn't what I thought it was. Let's keep going and let's get into the Phil Schneider. So this one is Phil Schneider and the Dulce Base claims, context, and timeline. So Phil Schneider, Dulce Base claims, what's alleged, what's documented, and what remains unverified. In this episode, it outlines Schneider's background, the 1979 Dulce firefight narrative, and the broader DUMBS, deep underground military bases lore. We assemble a clear timeline, compare testimonies, and note where physical records or corroborating documents are absent. So
Paul Benowitz was led to believe that there was a secret underground base located near Dulce, New Mexico. He began flying there in his plane to check out the area.
Eventually what happened was they began to mess with him, and some extraterrestrials, a group of gray extraterrestrials that were working with the military in the Dulce base. Benowitz's radio equipment had been able to intercept the communications between the extraterrestrials and the human operators in the base, in the underground base. So Dulce becomes a point of focus for Benowitz, and he trains his equipment there, and he has some high-speed photographic equipment there as well. And he's actually able to photograph some of the ships, some of the UFOs, going into the mesa, where you actually have a kind of vibrational shift in some of the craft.
And the more he dug into it, he found himself exposed to even more nightmarish stories, many of them coming from Dulce. For example, a lot of these insiders, whistleblowers if you like, claimed to him that all sorts of unspeakable experiments were being undertaken in the Dulce Base. People were being used as guinea pigs, if you like, in bizarre genetic experiments, splicing alien and human DNA together and creating strange half-human, half-alien creatures. And reportedly, there were hundreds and hundreds of people kept in the Dulce Base in cages. The people who go missing every year, that kind of thing.
So Benowitz did strongly believe that there was an underground base at Dulce, New Mexico. I don't think he was necessarily far off, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't necessarily discredit what Benowitz thinks. I think it's entirely possible that there was and may even still be some underground activity near Dulce. First of all, just generally speaking, it is documented and known that no later than the 1960s did the United States Navy have detailed plans to build deep underground facilities, deep underground military bases, DUMBs, in various parts of the United States and globally. And that not just under the ground, but under the ocean floor. We have illustrations, drawings of this at the time by illustrators who were hired by the Navy to do this. Now, whether they did it or not is another question, but certainly they were thinking about this. And by the way, the expense, the money, the technology, all of that was totally doable in the context of 1960s. So it could be done. All you need to do for an underground ocean base is extract oxygen out of the water. And we know how to do that. We've done that since the 50s. Have a source of energy down there and you can play ping pong and under nice fluorescent lighting for days and weeks and months. No problem. Underground bases are not difficult. Underground bases under the mountains, ditto.
In northern New Mexico, animals were being found drained of blood with organs removed. Black helicopters were seen flying around the area, strange lights, UFOs. And it all revolved around this huge mesa which overlooks Dulce, called the Archuleta Mesa. One of the intriguing theories is that there exists within and below this huge mesa some sort of fortified alien installation, an extraterrestrial base, if you like. And certainly since the 1970s, right through to the present day, a lot of research has been done into the Dulce area to try and answer that question. Are extraterrestrials living under New Mexico in the Dulce area?
Yeah, back in the 1950s in Farmington, there was an armada of UFOs seen going from Farmington eastward towards Dulce. Terrified everybody, made the newspapers, and then nothing.
In today's world, a lot of nations do have underground installations. It makes a great deal of sense because if, God forbid, there was ever a nuclear war, then if some sort of containment of government is going to take place and continuation, then the best place to be in a
Sorry, I'm muted. Art was always being stalked. He had real issues, and so he stepped away from the program, and the other guy stepped up. I always felt like Art got more of the truth, maybe, than the other guy. Maybe it's because he was being stalked and harassed endlessly, but yeah.
Third World War is underground. It makes sense. So a lot of these installations were built during the height of the Cold War to protect the governments, while unfortunately the rest of us are left upstairs to fry. And one of the theories is that some of these installations
happened. I took myself off the screen for a hot second because I had to get up and move the bird, but other than that, I'm still here.
Installations may have been built for potentials in the event of a Third World War, but over time they may have been reorganized and transformed to where you have these alien-human interactions going on. In other words, very much like Dulce.
We had people coming forward, finally sharing UFO sightings, engagements with cryptids, creatures they could not explain. For the first time on record, multiple families, independent of one another, said they hear traffic beneath their town. Traffic like cars and trucks. They hear like what sounds like a train system. And we all know about the mag-lev tunnel system that supposedly exists there. There is one that exists within the Los Alamos infrastructure. It's an underground mag-lev system.
What's interesting about Dulce itself is that back in 1967, there was a program called Operation Gas Buggy. And ostensibly, it was to detonate atomic bombs underground in the Dulce area to try and extract natural gas. Now, some researchers believe...
Oh, I bet that was a nice little excuse for what they were when they were blowing all that stuff underground to tell the public, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be a nice way to get the public off your back?
That was a cover story, and the nuclear...
I'm about to say the same thing.
Blasting was actually done to expand the Dulce Base, or even to try and wipe out the hostile aliens that were down there. In other words, we have this situation.
I've been rumored that there's this, not the reptilians, but there's like this snake race. They despise us, but luckily they also despise the reptilians, and the reptilians fought the snake race for us, but apparently maybe the snake race is coming back. I've heard that too.
Where, according to Phil Schneider, the Dulce Base was almost like a nightmarish Frankenstein's type lab.
The small town of Dulce always experienced a lot of high strangeness. However, in the mid-1990s, a man came forth with a stunning story about his experiences in an underground base built under the Archuleta Mesa, just north of Dulce. His name was Phil Schneider.
Phil Schneider, he started going public in the mid-1990s, and he started attending some UFO conferences and started to reveal his background as a civil engineer. He showed his documentation that he was the son of an Operation Paperclip scientist, and that he was recruited into these covert programs. It tends to be a kind of generational thing, so he just followed his father's footsteps, building these underground bases that would be joint facilities for extraterrestrials and elite human units. So he's building these bases all over the place. He's part of the team that kind of like is looking at different areas that would be suitable for the construction of a base. And he described a number of incidents. One of the incidents happened in 1979, the famous Dulce battle, where he says that they sunk a shaft.
So if you're watching me over on YouTube, apparently they've done something where somebody has, I guess, Gaia, you're not allowed to show their content with commentary, and they've struck my channel. So sorry, YouTube.
Basically doing some mining exploration there to see where they could build a facility in that arena. And they basically came into an area that was a very old cavern system where grey extraterrestrials had a base. And the story was that what happened was that there were elite military units that went down there, Delta Forces and other special forces, SEALs and so forth, went down there. And they basically encountered these tall grey extraterrestrials. And so there was a firefight down there, and approximately 60 military personnel and scientists were killed. And Schneider gets wounded, but he's alive, and he gets extracted out of there. So that's the famous Dulce battle, which was basically where the US military went into an area where they weren't supposed to be.
His version of events is that there was an altercation there. He was involved in the altercation. He was hit with some sort of a plasma weapon, which seared off a portion of his hand, and that he had managed to escape with samples, synthetic samples that were synthesized by the Greys that essentially led to the development of our stealth technology. He was displaying these at conferences as part of these preparedness expos. He had this whole connection to aliens, essentially. And for him, the catalyst was his time at Dulce. And it was his 1979 engagement with the Greys. And that's pretty much the crux of his story. And as you know, he went on the lecture circuit and died as a result.
Phil Schneider was an interesting character who's now deceased. His father was a man named Oscar Schneider, who had a lot of responsibility during the Second World War. He was involved in early atomic bomb tests, worked on nuclear submarines. And according to Phil Schneider, his father also worked on the infamous Philadelphia experiment in 1943, which was allegedly a program to try and make a warship invisible to the enemy. But as far as Phil Schneider's concerned, he came forward many years ago now, talking about how he said he was an engineer and was working on a lot of programs to construct massive underground installations all across the United States.
And so Schneider began in the mid-1990s talking about the Dulce battle, talking about his involvement in building these underground bases. He said that there were just over 100 of them all over the United States, that there were some in other places of the world, like Pine Gap in Australia. He disclosed the size of the budget, of the black budget, and his estimate was pretty accurate. He said back in that day, he said it was around $1 trillion. So he's talking about the early 1990s, and it was funding all of these bases. And he broke ranks when he realized that what was being created was a new world government. That he saw a facility that was being created that would host the United Nations. And he said that what greatly disturbed him was that where the United Nations diplomats would be meeting and conducting their business for the planet, that above them was a kind of alcove where the grey extraterrestrials would be observing. And
he saw that this was going on, and he didn't want to be a part of a one world order. And he said, no, I'm just not going to do it. So let's move on. But before we do, I want to just try to fix this. I don't understand why people aren't able to see me over on YouTube, because I can see myself. I can hear myself too. Oh, wait. Your content was removed due to a violation of guidelines. Because it's the first time, this is just a warning. I'll have to figure out what happened over on YouTube. I'll have to figure it out, but let's just keep going. Here we have on Polarity, he's talking about Phil Schneider, the UFO whistleblower, and he was silenced after he said this in 1995.
And I think this video is going to blow you away, because it is really beginning to feel like in 1995, Phil Schneider was telling the truth.